Hello, Pod Smashers of the Internet, and welcome to episode 20 of Termite's Buzz, a weekly video game podcast where your host, Termite, that's me, runs through the trophies I'm playing, some news in the video game industry, as well as wrapping up the show with something to do with retro video games. Each and every week, right here, all of those things straight to your ears. Thanks for joining me once again. Again, we're on episode 20, so we're moving right along every single week. The numbers just keep going up. I feel like I'm sitting in the accelerator seat, just like hitting the gas, each and every week. Here's a new episode. So thanks again for hanging out with me. I hope you are all doing well. I have contracted yet another cold, sinus infection, gunk, crud, whatever you want to call it. It's life with little children who go to daycares and preschools and elementary school, 2 kids, and they come home roughly every 2 weeks with a bug, and you'll probably know that by the cadence of the episodes that release where I sound like a frog. So that's cool. It is Memorial Day weekend, and we have a lot going on. There's 3 birthday parties, including my son's, this one weekend. So we've had a party to go to on Friday, a party to go to on Saturday, and my son's will be on Memorial Day. Lots of kids, lots of cake, lots of candy, piñatas, games, activities. It's crazy, very overstimulating. I'm glad we only have the one that we're hosting. The rest we get to attend. They're super fun to go to. When you don't have to host it, it's fantastic. You can show up, your kid is distracted and plays all day with his friends, having the best day of his life, and then I can stand around and chat with the grown-ups, drinking alcohol or 2, and have a good time. So that's Memorial Day, right? That's it. Cookouts and hanging out with friends and family, and it's going to be fun. I got family coming in today, and they're going to stay here with us, and we'll be doing that too. So it'll be fun. Hope to hear from all of y'all about what you're doing this Memorial Day. I hope there's a cookout in your future. I grilled out yesterday, and it was glorious. I don't have a good grilling situation. My grill's in the back of my house, and it's like a walkout basement, so it's down a hill, and I got to walk around the whole house to get to the grill. But when I find myself ready to do it, especially on Memorial Day weekend, and it's supposed to be rainy now, the rest of it, so we're halfway through the weekend at this point when I'm recording, so I was taking advantage of the sun. I grabbed a beer or 2 and was grilling some meat sticks, skewers, chicken and vegetables on a skewer. It was fantastic, and it smelled so good. People were sticking their head out the window hey, that smells really good. I'm yeah, it's my dinner, it's what we're doing. So it was yummy, it was good. That's what I like. Memorial Day is one of my favorite summer holidays. There's 4th of July, but for some reason, Memorial Day sticks out. There's Father's Day, there's 4th of July, I've got an anniversary in August, and I've got a birthday in July. T-Bone's birthday's July. So of all of the summer stuff, all of those have their own good things, but there's something about Memorial Day that stands out, and I don't know what it is. I think it's because the extra day off work. Because the other holidays I just mentioned, I have to take off work, whereas Memorial Day, I get one. But it's also pre-mosquitoes, because we live here in Virginia, where it's humid and swampy in the summer, and super hot, and mosquitoes are everywhere. So Memorial Day has that chance to hit the beautiful, it's not too hot, there's not humidity yet, and there's no mosquitoes, but it's warm enough to be outside and grill and have cookouts and hang out with people. So I think that's why I love Memorial Day weekend a lot. So that's that. What's been going on this week? Well, trophies have been in the back burner because of Tears of the Kingdom. Still, I'm 40 hours strong in that game now, over 2.5 weeks or so. It's pretty much been my main game. Every time I have any free time to game at all, it's been Tears of the Kingdom. I'm still having a blast with it. It's been wonderful, absolutely killer game. I just find myself going for the next thing. It's impossible for me to stop. It's Danny, you have to go do this. Your son needs this. Go put the switch down. I'm let me just get to this shrine. And then when I get to the shrine, I can turn it off. And then when I get to the shrine, I see that it's really short and simple. So I'm okay, well, let me just finish the shrine. And then it's okay, I'm going to go over here to this area of the map because there's a side quest waypoint over here. I'm going to get this tower, and then I get distracted. It's there's pirate ships over here. I'm going to go after that. And then there's there's another shrine on the way. Oh, I'm going to hit that. And then it's then I turn the quest, finally get the quest done after being padded 2 or 3 hours. I think this is what Nintendo wanted, right? It's you just get lost and get distracted constantly. But it's always so fun, and it comes in chunks that I feel like I can make progress and make, achieve something, like do a thing, within a reasonable amount of time, so that whenever I do pick up the Switch to play, I'm accomplishing stuff, even if it's only like a 10-minute session or a 20-minute session or a 2-hour session. It's great. It's fantastically paced. I'm having a blast with it. I did, when you, no surprise, like Breath of the Wild, there are 4 big major plot objectives that you get as soon as you get out of the tutorial area with Tears of the Kingdom. And so I've done 3 of those big 4 objectives, and now I'm kind of circling back, slowing down. I kind of got a little ahead of myself. I went the wrong way first, ran into a bunch of stuff that murdered me in one hit. It was frustrating and super hard. Course corrected after finishing that objective, went after a different one that you're supposed to go to first, and then I went to the one you're supposed to go to second. And when I say supposed to, it's like air quotes, like supposed to, because you can really do this in any way you want. But there's clearly an order of difficulty here. I also picked up the strategy guide to Breath of the Wild. Now, that game I've been done with forever, right? I put like 150 hours in that years ago. But the guide went on sale, and it's a collector's edition guide, so it's gorgeous. It has all the artwork and like the hardcover book. I'm a sucker, so I bought it. But I was flipping through it, and I didn't realize this. There's an entire, like, in it, I'm assuming this is for Tears of the Kingdom as well. But there's a whole, like, world level stat that's in the background of Breath of the Wild that when you defeat any of the big 4, what are they called? The ancient, the temples, the things, like the big, huge elephant and the giraffe and whatever they're called. Whenever you defeat one of those and you defeat a Ganon in the boss, the world level goes up. Whenever you defeat sub-bosses, like the Taloses and the Hinoxes, like the world level goes up. As you defeat more enemies, the world level goes up. And what happens is the enemies all level up. And so, like, red bokoblins are the easy ones. They level up to blue, blue to black, black to silver. And I didn't realize that was going on. So as you progress through Breath of the Wild, the game is actually getting harder as you collect more gear, and theoretically you're doing shrines, and you're getting more hearts and more stamina, and you're finding better weapons and such. I think the same thing's going on with Tears of the Kingdom too. But anyway, I went out of order first, went somewhere super hard, and I've stopped progressing the main plot, and I've started to collect gear stuff. I want to collect gear sets. So there's like a climbing gear set, which is right out of Breath of the Wild. There's some other gear sets I won't spoil that are pretty fun. And so taking my time now, slowing down, grinding a little bit. There's a rupee grinding trick that I'm trying to do where you harvest meat and you cook the meat and then you sell it. So I'm doing some of that to help with the gear. So I'm just having a blast. I mean, I could sit and talk about Tears of the Kingdom forever. The game is so freaking fun. It's so good. Like I said, it's addicting. I never want to stop. I've always got something I want to get done on it, and that's been taking up most of my time. There is a new game that came out this past week, which we'll get into later in the show, in the news, but Beat Saber finally dropped on PlayStation VR 2, and I have been jonesing to play Beat Saber for 5 years since it came out. I never had any of the VR platforms that had come out on, because I imagined it came out on PC first. I know it came out on PSVR 1, and all the other like wireless cell phone related VR systems platforms. Like Beat Saber's everywhere, but the one VR system I finally pulled the trigger on, but that was a selling point for me for the PlayStation VR 2. I knew Beat Saber was coming, and it was one of the things that was a selling point for me, and kind of why I felt okay forking out the money on a PlayStation VR 2 headset, because I'd never had any other VR headset before in the past. So it was my first jump into VR, and I knew that if I was going to get Beat Saber, that's one of the killer apps that I wanted the most. It's a rhythm game where you have a lightsaber and you slice cubes to the beat of the music, and the cubes have to be sliced from a specific direction, and it is so much fun. It is absolutely so much fun. And also dropped new for Beat Saber, period, for everyone, was a Queen music pack. So all of Queen's best hits, Bohemian Rhapsody, Somebody to Love, Don't Stop Me Now, like all those good songs are on this. And of course I had to buy the song pack. So I got the song pack, had a blast. I've finally trying to figure out how to manage my VR, because VR has been giving me these eye aches, like eye strain. The best way I can describe what I experience after VR or during VR is like if you keep your head still, or VR through, you move your eye to one extreme, like to left or right, up or down or whatever, and just hold that for like 20 minutes straight. Your eye will hurt. Like the muscle that it takes for you to move your eyeball within your socket would become strained and it will hurt. Well, that's what I experience in VR, looking straight ahead, blinking, and like there's nothing happening except for the image that's being beamed into my pupils is obviously causing some strain because my eye's trying to focus constantly. So I was scouring the internet, as one does, to solve this problem, and I found one guy's post. Well, I'm assuming a guy. One person's post. They put a beanie on their head, and it was a thick beanie, and rolled the front of it up twice so that on their forehead it was super, super padded. And then just apply the PlayStation VR2 headset onto your head the way that you normally would. So it's kind of a halo around your head, and you want the back down close to your neck, so between your ears, on the back end of your head, and you twist the knob to tighten it up, and then you have the front forehead band on the beanie, the double-sided beanie. And apparently that's all it takes to change the angle. This sounds crazy, because literally nothing else is different. It just changes the angle the light is beamed into your eyes. And I can't say it's a switch like, oh, I'm better now, this worked. But I will tell you that I played Beat Saber for an hour and a half straight. And in the middle of that hour and a half session, there was a little bit of eye strain. I thought I was going to have to quit. So I kind of migrated out of what I was doing. I'm working through the campaign and went to just quick play so I could jump out if it got too bad. But it kind of resolved itself. So it never got to the point where I had to stop like it used to. And that's kind of why I haven't really finished Call of the Wild yet, was because it got so bad with the eye strain pain that I couldn't keep playing. And it was kind of it's weird how if I talk about it with someone, I can say, well, yeah, I want to play. So I can just kind of do it and then stop whenever it hurts. Like, that makes logical sense. But when it comes, like, I've got some free time and I'm on my own and I'm just like, what am I going to play? Suddenly I found myself subconsciously putting all of the VR stuff at the bottom of my priority list. Remember, I've got this PlayStation 3 that got the Frankie repair, so I've been trying to play through Grand Theft Auto 4. I got Tears of the Kingdom. Prior to that, I had Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and I was playing all these other games, kind of neglecting VR subconsciously. And I was like, I'm not trying to neglect VR. I'm not saying no because it hurts. But really, that's what my brain is telling. Like, there's a negative association when I think about playing. So anyway, there's a long digression from what I'm playing, but Beat Saber is amazing. Apparently, the PSVR 2 version is awesome. It's like crisper and has a higher frame rate. It looks sharper and such. I don't know because I've never played Beat Saber on any other platform, but it's perfect. It's fantastic. It feels amazing. I was playing the Queen songs. I'm having like a good time. I'm sure I look like a complete moron in the living room as I'm like moving my hands all over the place. And if you have the TV, I guess you can at least see some context of what I'm doing, but hilarious. Some videos have got to be made soon. I'm sure someone will record me acting a fool. And I got family coming today, so we're probably going to break it out so I can show them. That should be fun. And so there's a mode in the campaign. The campaign, I hit or miss. I don't like, when it comes to rhythm games, I want the campaign to just be play the songs. All right, you get to choose difficulty. You get to choose. The only thing you don't get to choose is like what song, right? So you just go through the game in order. The campaign just brings you through the game's content. That's what the best rhythm game campaigns are. But Beat Saber has this campaign where it changes and adds modifiers. It changes the difficulty on you, and it does this other stuff. Well, one of them is the VR system tracks your movement of your hands, and with it applies some sort of distance to it. Apparently it's in meters. I don't understand the translation, but like as you move your hands, there's a distance meter. There's actually like a trophy for I think it's 150,000 meters total across the entire game. So constantly playing, it's always tracking in the background. But the song for the campaign will be like, play this song, but you have to get at least 900 meters of movement before you get the end or you fail the mission. And so I frantically waved my arms around like a wild man, just going nuts, moving between every single beat, trying to not miss the squares, the cubes as I'm playing the game. And I get to the end, and I'm at like 550 meters. I did this over and over again, and I could not. I still have not beat this mission. I cannot get 900 meters of movement. It is impossible to move that much for now, like until I get good enough that I know where I can move between every single beat. So, but doing so, my shoulders and my arms were so sore that I could almost not play again, like the next day. I was ridiculous. I took ibuprofen. It was awful. Like, I'm so not upper body in shape at all. And Beat Saber's, to me, like not that crazy of a workout. Like my heart rate goes up a little, but not like running. Even like the slowest, easiest jog that I do, Beat Saber can't get my heart rate to that level. So it was hilarious. I think my shoulders have healed since. It's been a couple of days, and I haven't tried that mission again. But it's been a lot of fun. I'm moving my body in new ways. This was a soreness that came from like muscle, not injury, so I wasn't hurting myself. But it's really cool to, if you think about just like back in school when you used to raise your arms and keep your arms straight, and you have to like do the little whirls. You have to like twirl your hands in circular motion. It's kind of like that, but it's extended for 10 minutes straight, frantically going nuts. And so it was a lot of fun. With that, we're going to go into the news. And the biggest piece of news, of course, is the PlayStation Showcase, right? That's what we got. Finally, after 500 plus days of silence, we've gotten some state of plays from Sony, but we haven't really gotten a full-blown showcase. This is their big deal E3 level presentation. It is a huge show with a ridiculous amount of expectations put on it. And for some reason, I know it's not for some reason. It happened. I watched it. I was so hype. I thought this presentation was awesome. I would give it an A out of the school grade. Just my first impressions right off the bat. I thought there was something here for everyone. It had hit after hit, paced properly, so there wasn't like that super boring lull in the middle that I always hate. I have some critiques of the show, but not enough to bring it down. Apparently that's a hot take, because the internet hated this thing. It did not meet expectations at all, and everyone is going on and on about how not good it was, or like how it fizzled out and it wasn't as impactful as it could have been or should have been, and they were disappointed by what they didn't get. So one of the things I like to do as Termite, as someone who's just a video game industry consumer, because I can't even call myself a pundit, because I this platform for this podcast, the audience is so small. Like, I'm not influencing no one. So thank you for being here, and I'm glad that you care about my opinions. But I am not like Greg Miller or Alana Pierce or anyone from IGN, any of those folks who are like big names, big voices, Andrea Renee. I'm not. So my little hot take over here, whatever. I loved this showcase, but whenever I approach big video game presentations and big things like this, I'm always looking at what I got. I don't try to put the weight of what I didn't get on it, because I think you just set yourself up for failure or for disappointment. And the goal here is to enjoy video games, to appreciate the video game industry, and to love this medium that we love so much. And if you put too much on it, too much pressure on yourself, or too much expectation on the thing, it's going to disappoint you, and you're not going to appreciate or love games in the gaming industry and maybe your hobby as much as you could. So it's a weird like subconscious switch that I put in my head whenever there's a big presentation, like what is actually here, and is that good, not worrying about what's not here. And so I think most of the criticisms that I've read on the internet and heard is all about like what Sony didn't show us, and like, is there going to be another presentation, and is there going to be a follow-up at Summer Game Fest, and it's like all these other things we gotta have. It's like clamoring to have the industry must meet all of my questions and demands, and it's crazy. It's like an almost, I wouldn't say like entitlement, but maybe kind of like Sony doesn't owe anyone anything. They're a company that makes money on you. Like they're not your friend. You should always have like some sort of like relationship, not antagonistic, but like you should hold all of these companies' feet to the fire. Like no one owes you anything. You're a gamer. We go out, we play video games, we get presented with things like here's these ridiculously complicated pieces of software that are developed by hundreds of people at different studios that are sometimes wrecking their lives to make content that we can buy so that they can make money. That's pretty much the gist of it. To remove all of the fun, fancy art storytelling words out of the industry, but that's when you get into the point where like Sony owes me an update from their studios, or Xbox, or like Microsoft owes us good quality games from all of these studios. It is perfectly right and valid to ask for information and updates because you made an investment in their ecosystem, you bought their console, and you want to be fed, you want content, and it's totally fair and cool to be like, hey Microsoft, hey Sony, hey, Nintendo, what's coming next? What's going on? What do you have for us? And then these big presentations show up, and they might not deliver the answer to all of your questions, but they are going to show you something. And if you're not excited about every single thing, or if you're not excited about a single bit of thing you were seen, or shown, there's usually at least one hook you can hang your hat on. That's like, okay, well, this whole presentation was a wash, but I did like that. It's something. Because these consoles and these platforms don't exist without games. There's going to be games. That's kind of a given. There's going to be something. So I think people just chill out. Just calm down. Enjoy what you get. Take what you get and don't pitch a fit. The internet discourse around this Sony showcase is just all of the worst parts of the video game industry culture, of the consumer entitlement mindset. And if I just take a step back and breathe, and what we got from Sony's showcase was good. I think I'm done with my soapbox now. So I had a prediction last week. I went through what I thought was going to be here, and I will tell you what I actually got right when I'm done. It's not a lot, because this showcase surprised everyone. So I'm going to run through what was shown off. I'm not going to go into great detail about everything. I'd be here for 4 hours. So this is an article from Eurogamer. It was written by Wesley Yinpool, and I will run through that. Sony's hotly anticipated PlayStation Showcase is over, and now we have a clearer idea of what PlayStation 5 and PSVR 2 owners can expect to hit their hardware over the next year. We got a lot of what we expected and more than a few surprises. In case you missed it, or just fancy a recap, here's everything found during the show, including trailers, reveals, release dates, and it's a lot to get through, so let's begin. It started off with Haven. If you remember, Haven is a company that was started by Jade Raymond, who used to work for EA. Apparently a team comprised of a lot of old Ubisoft talent. So Haven's PlayStation exclusive Fair Game, it's plural, Fair Games, but the S on the end is a $, is described as a competitive modern heist game where you team up to break into exotic locations and steal the cargo. A very much like Eat the Rich kind of Payday. I haven't played the Payday games, but very reminiscent of that. Looks really cool. So multiplayer game, sounds fun. As it gets closer to release, maybe we'll organize some friends to go and do some heists. Hopefully it's a lot more fun than Grand Theft Auto 5, which wouldn't take much. Next up was a reveal from Arrowhead Game Studios, an update to the Helldivers franchise. We're getting Helldivers 2, and it's now a third-person shooter, which I was extremely excited about. I was like, whoa, this is awesome. Helldivers was super fun. It was a twin-stick shooter, top-down, very housemarquey, except it is extremely punishing and very difficult, which was kind of a turn-off for me, but I didn't mind, and it was a lot of fun to play with Penguin back in the day. And so now they're making a sequel, and it looks like Outriders, except more grounded, right? Outriders has all these crazy magics and all these things going on, and Helldivers 2 seems more grounded. So anyway, looks cool. Moving on to a new trailer for Ascendant Studios' first-person magic shooter, speaking of magic, Immortals of Avium. This one was published by EA. It's due out in July, so it's coming right around the corner. In fact, there's already some preview footage of it. Immortals of I don't know how to say this, Avium? Avium? I don't know. But this looks interesting to me, but it's more it seems to be kind of a Destiny-esque Division online games as a service type thing. I don't know about its campaign. I need more information before I decide about what to do, but it's first person shooter, but you use magic, and it looks like there's some dual wielding going on and those things. So looks kind of cool. Next up, 505 Games and One More Level revealed Ghost Runner 2 is coming to PC and of course PlayStation later this year. We got a good look at Ghost Runner 2. I don't really know much about Ghost Runner, so cool. It looked neat. Next was a quickfire action RPG Phantom Blade Zero. Yes, this game showed really, really fun. It looked really good. It showed good. It showed well. Showed good. It made a good showing. I don't know words. It's from a developer called Cruel Man Studio, and super, super fast-paced, samurai feudal Japan combat. Or maybe it's Chinese, because I'm an American and I'm stupid. I don't know the difference between some of these old Eastern countries when it comes to their ancient times, but it has a very cool stylistic approach to the main character has a Raiden hat and swords, and it's very much super fast, crazy fast swinging and blocking and parrying kind of mechanics. Lots of really cool aerial combat maneuvers, getting in the air with two swords and spinning. Everything about this game looks amazing, except that it could be a Souls-like game, and it could be hard. And if that's the case, I would be furious. Like, make this game have the easiest of easy modes ever, and let me get in there and button mash and do these awesome aerobatics with swords flinging through the air and actually make progress. Put an easy platinum on it. I'm sold day one. This game looks amazing. So I need to know more, because if it is a Souls-like game and it's super difficult, you have to chug along an 80-hour, I'm just not going to do it. Because I'm sitting on Sekiro, and I'd like to try that. So if I'm going to go down that road and that art style and that form, I will play Sekiro instead. But we'll see. This is one of the games that got me hyped, as was Ghost Riders. So 2 hype moments already for Termite. The next game from Giant Squid Studios, the developer of Abzu, is Sword of the Sea. So this is that very Journey-esque game. In fact, some of the designers, it's published by Annapurna, and they published the Pathless, which I absolutely loved. The art style is very similar to the Pathless, to Journey, Abzu, which I haven't played Abzu. So it's one of those just emotional, super artsy kind of games. I'm in. Like, it looks awesome. So hype again, right? So 3 big hype moments for Termite. Next up was, moving on, Crow Team and Devolver Digital announced the Talos Principle 2. I know nothing about it. Cool. I'm sorry if you played Talos Principle 1 and you wanted me to speak more about this game, but I just don't know that franchise, and it did not look super appealing to me. Devolver Digital and Greece developer studio Nomada Studio announced Neva, due out in 2024. Yet another kind of artsy platformer type game. Looked kind of neat. And then switching gears, Cat Quest, Pirates of the Caribbean, as one of those cutesy kid-type games. To me, this showed like a cell phone game, and I was super turned off by it. I was like, the art style is cute and fun, but as it was playing, I was like, this looks just like not Castle Crashers. No, what's the big Clash of Clans? Yeah, it looks like that. And I was like, but not at all. Like, when I say Clash of Clans, like that's a world built, like you build your base, like buildings and defenses and stuff. Cat Quest was very much like a Diablo kind of dungeon crawling looking type game, where you had like hack and slash, numbers would come up and stuff, but it just had the presentation of a cell phone game. I'm not super into it. Next was a huge eye roller. Square Enix, right? Oh, exciting. Big pan across like a city. You're like, okay, here we go, another big awesome JRPG. And it turned out to be a copy of Nintendo's Splatoon called Foam Stars. I have no idea why this game is here, who funded this, who thinks it's going to make money. I'm not sure. And I'm really down on this game because I've seen games like this just come and go. What was that? There's a dodgeball game that's like, it came and went, trying to copy and capitalize on the Splatoon formula. Didn't work. There was another arcadey. There's the car Destruction All Stars. It didn't work. Like, it didn't stick. So I don't know why this is here. I was just bummed. It was like, there's developer talent going somewhere that I think is not going to work. But maybe it is. Maybe it's a big hit. Who knows? But I was just kind of like eye rolling here. The next game that was shown was called The Plucky Squire. Again, Devolver Digital is publishing it. This actually looked really cool because it had vibes from Sackboy's Great Adventure, where it's like, but different. So it's a platformer game, top down, 2D, running through storyboard stuff that has the art style of like Yoshi's Crafted World or Kirby's Epic Yarn, where you have like the materials in the book, and then he jumps out of the book into a full 3D world that's kind of like It Takes Two. So it looks really fun to me. I'll be following this game to see how it comes out, like reviews and such, but I think it could be a fun family game, good co-op with my kids, and have a good time with it. So now I'm back in, right? It's a couple of games that are just like really hype. Then we had a little bit of a lull with Cat Quest and Neva and Foam Stars, and then we're like, boom, okay, Plucky Squire, here we go. Next was a game called Teardown. Just Teardown. I thought there was a subtitle. And it looks just like Minecraft, like almost too much like Minecraft. Kind of questionably so, but you blow stuff up. So interesting, but I'm not really into any of that. And then next was the big hype moment. Another really, really big hype moment. It's like, okay, what's the next trailer? Up next, we have one of the worst kept secrets in video games because everyone knew, and Termite predicted as well because of all of the news that had come out about it. But we finally got a glimpse at Metal Gear Solid. They're calling it Delta. It's a triangle. Snake Eater. So it is the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. It looks awesome. They've already said the full original voice cast is going to be in it. And what looks awesome, there's zero gameplay. It's a cinematic trailer, but it is Solid Snake. Again, we're in that world. I'm here for it. I can't wait. I didn't get to finish Metal Gear Solid 3. I got almost all the way to the end, and I was so turned off by the survival mechanics, having to constantly eat. How like you have to go into menus to heal every individual wound. You get shot in the leg. You have to like go into your menu and stitch up that leg with materials. You have to mine for the grind to collect the materials. So there's like this whole like material gathering thing and all of that. It was just kind of like bleh. I wanted to just play like Metal Gear Solid. So I'm curious to see how they tweak those mechanics to give them the quality of life upgrades they need in order to be relevant in 2023. And I don't know if there's a release date for that. I think it's just coming soon. I don't see a release date here. So yeah. Next from Dreamlit Games, an open world builder, Towers of Agaspa? Towers of Agaspa? This kind of looks like a Caribbean tropical game. It didn't do much for me. So next there was another Final Fantasy 16 launch trailer. So as hype as I am for the Final Fantasy 16, I cannot wait for this game. It's starting to get that Deathloop level of too much. Stop showing me. So I didn't really pay much attention to this trailer because I want it to not be shown that. And then another super big hype moment when you see Epic and Remedy. And you're like, oh, here we go. Remedy made Control. They made Max Payne. We know they're doing a Max Payne remake. We know we're doing more in the Alan Wake franchise. Well, here we go. Alan Wake 2, baby. Coming out October 17th. We got a release date on it. This inspired me to go back and want to play the Alan Wake remaster that came out on PS4 and get trophies over there and check it out because I missed Alan Wake. Like I played Max Payne and I played Control, but Alan Wake is part of that world, and I haven't played any of them. I dabbled in the very first game on the 360, I would say recently, but probably over a year ago, and it was awesome. And I was like, ooh, I can't believe I missed this game, but I didn't have time to get into it, so I just had to set it down and move on. But yeah, Alan Wake 2 looks awesome. Good showing here, and coming out October 17th. Next up was another kind of hype moment, but this is one of those hype moments where I'm hyped for the people that love this franchise, but I will probably not have the time to go into it day one. But it's our first look at Assassin's Creed Mirage. It's in Baghdad, and it looks like it has the character from the first 2-3 games in it. It has the OG robe, the white robe with the concealed blade. I love the idea of Assassin's Creed. I love the existence of Assassin's Creed, but I tried to get into Assassin's Creed Origins, and I could not for the life of me feel compelled to play that game at all. I don't know if it was super slow paced at the beginning. It's too open world. There's too much to do on the map. I don't know, but I could not get into Origins. I wanted to try the new, from Origins on is a new era of Assassin's Creed, and I have 1, 2, and 3 in Black Flag ready to go because I wanted to play through those, just mainline them. And every time I start Assassin's Creed 1, it's so old, and the quality of life compared to 2006 to now, or 2007 to now, is very different. So it's 14 years will put a lot. 15, I can't do math. But anyway, Assassin's Creed Mirage, we finally got a gameplay, and the combat animations are really leveled up here. It looks marketably better. Really cool, exciting, pumped, hyped for anyone who's into Assassin's Creed. I'm glad this game exists, and I'm glad it's coming out. So it's also coming out this October. So fall is getting the game's in place here. So Finji Studio announced Revenant Hill, the debut game from the Glory Society. So Finji must be a publisher. The Glory Society is the developer, and the game is called Revenant Hill. Don't really know much about that one. Cygames action RPG Grand Blue Fantasy Relink is due out this winter, and there was a trailer for that, so that looked fun. And then there was an update from Street Fighter 6. Again, Street Fighter 6 is hitting that same Deathloop level of there's just constant churn. Every single state of play, every single showcase has Street Fighter 6, Final Fantasy 16. Okay, I get it. It's coming. It's coming out next week. So if you're in for 6, Street Fighter 6, there you go. It's coming. Moving on, Ultros is a psychedelic side-scrolling action game due out in 2024. I don't know why the article says don't stare at it too long, though. There's a lot going on in this one. It is a side-scrolling indie title that looks like the pacing of Celeste, sort of, but the art style is crazy psychedelic. The color palette is nuts. Lots of neon green and lots of fluids. I don't know what they are. Lots of containers in the background. Lots of stuff going on. So I guess don't stare at it too long. You'll get creeped out. But it looks kind of cool. Like, if you're into that kind of thing, I would guess it's going to be like a Metroidvania style game, but who knows? Maybe it's more like Will of the Wisps, where it's just, which is kind of a Metroidvania now that I think about it. I don't know. Looks fun. So I'll keep an eye on that. I haven't even played Celeste, so there you go. Moving on, we have a launch trailer for Tower of Fantasy. It's an open world RPG coming out this summer. Continuing on, big hype moment. Here we go. Yep, you settled in, you got used to some things. You're like, okay, next. Dragon's Dogma 2 was showed off, announced. No one knew that was coming. So Capcom, boom. Dragon's Dogma 2, first trailer there. So I haven't played the first one, but it looks amazing. And I have the first one, I believe, on PlayStation 3. I'm looking at my collection to see if I'm lying. I see Dead Space, Diablo, Dishonored, Dragon Age, Dragon's Crown. Not Dragon's Dogma. Sorry, I lied. I don't have Dragon's Dogma, but I need to get it. So I'll probably look back at the PlayStation 3 games online and see if I can grab a copy. I might have the PS4 version because they did a remaster of that, and that might be attached to my PlayStation Plus stuff. So I'll have to do some research and try to get into that world, but it looks awesome. And I've heard nothing but good things about Dragon's Dogma. It's one of the most underrated, apparently, RPGs from a studio like Capcom. But Dragon's Dogma 2 apparently is going to use the Resident Evil engine, which so it should have like really, really good quality, polish, studio looking, like AAA studio looking stuff. So look forward to it. Looks cool. Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted 2 was showed off next. Comes out in 2023 if you want to be scared to death for no reason. Then some PSVR 2 stuff. Resident Evil 4 VR mode, continuing to go down this consumer-friendly path of offering the full game in VR for free when it comes out. And that will come out, I guess, later this year. I don't know if there was a release date or not. So that looked cool if you're into Resident Evil in VR. That intrigues me more than Resident Evil 8 in VR does. And I've heard nothing but amazing things about Resident Evil 8 in VR. So maybe I have to play through them both. Resident Evil 4 is hot on my wish list for the summer. I don't have it yet, so I'm dying to play it. I've heard amazing things about it. Sticking with PSVR 2, we have a trailer for Arizona Sunshine 2, another shooter. Smilegate revealed PSVR 2 shooter Crossfire Sierra Squad. In Dreams announced a 4th of July release for PSVR 2 shooter Synapse. If you've noticed the trend here, it's like shooter. So Resident Evil 4 and then 3 shooters, all in VR. So I was a little shooter fatigued after Synapse was shown off. I was like, give me a VR experience that's not with a gun, please. I want to try some other things. Like, these all look like the similar kind of experience. And then boom, Beat Saber, out today on PSVR 2. And by today, I meant like last Wednesday. And that's where I lost my mind and started frantically refreshing the PlayStation Store page so I could get it and get it downloaded. And I kind of got distracted. But while that was happening, the next game from Bungie. Now, remember, Bungie is now in partnership with Sony. Sony owns them now. So Bungie went from being Halo, Microsoft, to Activision, where they continued to make Destiny and all of the Destiny content. And now they're in the Sony's camp, and the next game that they're making is another entry in their franchise from way back in the day called Marathon. It is a sci-fi PvP extraction shooter. So taking those Destiny roots and taking their old IP and doing something hopefully unique with it. And I say hopefully because all we've gotten is like a cinematic teaser. We don't really know what the gameplay is like or anything about it, but Marathon. It showed well as far as what the CGI teaser trailer can give you about what it's going to be. So I'm interested in this. This could be something fun. Get the guys and gals together on the internet to group up and play some multiplayer games. And all it takes is that one amazing game to to motivate everyone to get together, at least in my life, because I don't regularly play multiplayer stuff. So when a multiplayer game comes out, it's like, oh, this is good enough for us to get together and play. Sticking with Bungie, we've got a new trailer for Destiny 2, The Final Shape, and looks like a big character is revived from that story. So I won't spoil it here. If you guys care at all about what's going on, go check it out. And then Firewalk Studios, which we haven't heard from yet about what game they're making, released a teaser trailer for a game called Concord. This looks amazing, but it's a PvP multiplayer first-person shooter. But when I say looks amazing, all we've got is a teaser trailer. It's just CGI. There's nothing gameplay related here at all, so it's difficult to make an assessment about what this game is going to be. But the teaser trailer got me hype, so I'm really curious about what's going on in Concord. And then Sony revealed Project Q, a DualSense controller with a screen powered by the cloud. And that's their new streaming hardware that we've known about for a while, as well as a new pair of earbuds for PlayStation 5 that have like the 3D audio capabilities and the spatial stuff built into it, rechargeable little kit set. Don't know much about that until it comes out as far as like specs or if it's going to be worth the money. And then closing out the show was a huge finish, a big reveal for Insomniac Spider-Man 2, due out this fall, so still no release date, but introduced Kraven the Hunter, showcased the gameplay between Miles Morales and Peter Parker, and I lost my ever-loving mind watching this. I am so excited for Spider-Man 2. I can't even see straight. This looks exactly what I want out of a Spider-Man. Like someone went into the recesses of my brain and pulled out all of the things Termite likes in a video game, and then Spider-Man's my favorite superhero, put it all together, and boom, we got Spider-Man 2. I cannot wait, and I loved how much gameplay was shown off. The UI, everything combat related was here. The difference in the UI between Peter Parker and Miles Morales, how to switch between the two. It was confirmed right before this trailer went live that this is a single-player game. There is no co-op, which is kind of a bummer, but I'm okay with it because it's Spider-Man. It is the follow-on to Miles Morales and the first PlayStation 4 Spider-Man from 2018, I think, was that year. Maybe 20, I don't even know. But it looks so good. Refreshing all of the mechanics from the original Spider-Man game and Miles Morales' the sequel follow-up. It looks like each of the two Spider-Men will be different, especially with the symbiote suit, which I think from a design perspective, they wanted to differentiate Peter Parker from Miles Morales so much that it made sense to, in the story or the plot, make Peter Parker have the symbiote suit, which does a whole bunch of extra weird Venom-like attacks with like lots of blobs, and web slinging is just like the symbiote like extension of himself, and it looks like you will be able to play differently. I think Peter Parker will probably be like slower. Miles Morales will be more agile. And Miles Morales has the invisibility cloak and the electric stuff, which all looks revved up to the next level. Like they've mastered their techniques. They got better at it. I am so excited for this. I cannot wait. Go check those trailers out. My words cannot do it justice. Showcasing some new villains. Of course, Kraven the Hunter. And showed off a little bit of the plot, like what's going on. Lizard. They're chasing down Lizard. Can't wait. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for Spider-Man 2. And if it's anything like Spider-Man 1 or Miles Morales, there will be twists. Plot twists, stuff we don't expect. So that'll be cool. So that was the end of the show as far as the PlayStation Showcase. Wrapped up with that. And that's why I said this is a solid show. This was amazing. I got updates on all the things I want. Not all the things, but what I was shown is a good future for PlayStation 5. I'm excited for some of the big games coming out in the fall. Will I actually buy them on release day and try to get them at midnight? Is there any big games at that hype level? Maybe not, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So what did I get right? I predicted, of course, Spider-Man 2, but I thought it would be at the beginning of the show, not at the end. I, of course, called out Metal Gear Solid 3 because of all the leaks, like it was a shoe-in. So that was cool. Firewalk's AAA game was shown off, Concord. So I said, would we get an update from that studio? And we did. And then an update from Haven, which was another one of Sony's newer studios with Fair Game. I'm noticing now as I'm speaking out loud that when Sony had announced not too long ago that they were going to focus on like 12 service games as a servicey online multiplayer kind of engagement games, I'm realizing that's what we got a lot of updates from. Because Marathon, Concord, Fair Games, that's 3 like online PvP, VE type shooter stuff. And there was more in there I already forgot. As far as PSVR 2, the only thing I predicted correctly was Beat Saber dropping, like shadow dropping. I knew it. I knew it was going to happen, and it did. It was awesome, but we didn't get any other updates from any other studios. I really wanted to see updates of like Mina the Hollower from Yacht Club and Sea of Stars from that studio that's making that made The Messenger, their follow-up RPG that's very Chrono Trigger-esque. But we didn't get updates from those. So that was it. Little bits of news moving on after that. The Last of Us multiplayer is officially delayed. So as reported by Bloomberg on May 26th, the quality and long-term viability of the much-anticipated The Last of Us multiplayer game has seemingly come into question. As a result, sources have claimed a, quote, small group remains on the project while the company reevaluates the direction. Bloomberg notes the game has not been canceled at this time, but many of the developers that were working on the project have been moved to others within the company. Following Bloomberg's request for comment from Naughty Dog, the studio released the statement you could read below. And that statement from Naughty Dog is, The Last of Us fans, we know many of you have been looking forward to hearing more about our Last of Us multiplayer game. We're incredibly proud of the job our studio has done thus far, but as development has continued, we've realized what is best for the game to give it more time. Our team will continue to work on the project as well as our other games in development, including a brand new single-player experience. We look forward to sharing more soon. We're grateful to our fantastic community for their support. Thank you for your passion for our games. It continues to drive us. And this was one of 2 Twitter apologies going on, but I'll get to the other one in a minute. It seems like there was something to do with bringing Bungie in. Some developers from Bungie were assessing Naughty Dog's progress on The Last of Us multiplayer and made a bunch of comments, gave all the feedback, all the things, and Naughty Dog is like, okay, we gotta scale back, scratch the stuff, start over, reevaluate kind of stuff. And I'm not claiming that they're starting over from scratch, but that's what then the tweet that I just read from Naughty Dog was about. Like, we're going to need more time, and we're trying to make it awesome. But it seems like there's going to be a big change in direction here, and I'm wondering if it really is going to be super scaled back to just what Factions was in the first game on PS3, which was not that much. So we'll see. It's interesting. It's coming. What I'm most excited about that tweet is that they are making a brand new single-player experience, and we look forward to sharing more of that soon. So whatever that's going to be, a brand new single-player experience. So that implies not Uncharted and not Last of Us, correct? Is that what I mean by that? Is that what they mean by that? We'll find out. The next piece of news is, I only put this here because it's hilarious, but the review roundup for Lord of the Rings Gollum, coming by Evan Campbell over at GameSpot. Lord of the Rings Gollum has finally arrived after multiple delays over the past couple of years, but the wait may not be worth the return to Middle-earth in this stealth-based game from developer Daedalic Entertainment, judging from early reviews. Over on GameSpot's sister site Metacritic, the Lord of the Rings Gollum currently sports a Metascore of 38 based on 21 reviews. Critics have noted game-breaking bugs, other technical issues, boring gameplay, and rough visuals. One bright spot for the stealth game mentioned by a couple of writers is the story for Smeagol's adventure. That said, so far the game is one of the worst reviewed of 2023. GameSpot's Lord of the Rings review calls it a, quote, an unbridled disaster of truly epic-like, Tolkien-level epic proportions. Of course, the game's out on all the platforms, but GameSpot gave it a 2, Inverse gave it a 3, Games Radar a 2 out of 5, Shack News gave it a 6 out of 10, Push Square gave it a 2 out of 10. This looks awful. I expected absolutely nothing less from this. The game has been nothing but in troubled waters ever since it was delayed, and the gameplay showcase to the insiders and their feedback it's just red flags after red flags after red flags. The game's not ready, it's not ready, it's not ready. And the reason why I'm laughing here is because there was an apology posted by the developers close to when Naughty Dog posted their apology. And their apology, I don't want to read the whole thing, it's long, but it's PR speak for basically, sorry, the game is terrible and we're going to fix it, which is lame. And I'm tired of hearing it. So we got apologies lately, just this year alone, from Jedi Survivor, right? Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Forspoken, Halo Infinite, Lord of the Rings Gollum, Redfall. Like, we're tired of these Twitter apologies. Come on. Like, just go make your game. You don't need to post it. Like, where is this coming from? Why are suddenly social media community managers at these companies saying like we have to post these big like apologies. It's almost a Streisand effect. It's shedding more light on the problem by saying something. Just go back to your hole, announce the thing's delayed, and move on, and make the game better, and make the game speak for itself. We don't need to have the Twitter apologies. It's kind of eye-rolling at this point, because every single studio feels the need to get out with a message that explains something. Like Naughty Dog's is totally irrelevant. Like you did not need to do that. Last of Us multiplayer is delayed. Okay, done. Maybe have like a PR beat with that delay for the news media to coverage, or for their coverage, for them to talk about. And that's it. You don't have to go out onto Twitter and like post a big apology and make it a big thing. It's getting a little hilarious. And you can see the internet discourse kind of agrees with me. And that's that. That is the news for the week. Busy week with that Sony PlayStation experience. So the last segment of my show here is the retro discussion, retro gaming, which has two kind of medium beats. One is that the Super Mario Advance games dropped on the Nintendo Switch online service for the Game Boy Advance. If you have the expansion pack service, you can get it. So it's Super Mario Advance 1, 2, and 3, which is Mario 2, Mario World, Yoshi's Island, and Mario 3. They're all there, all four of them. And I think Super Mario Advance 1, which is a remake of Mario 2, is probably the best version of Mario 2 to play. I fired it up and was messing around with it on my Switch between Tears of the Kingdom playthroughs. I'm playing through Tears of the Kingdom more than once. No, between playing Tears of the Kingdom, I fired up Super Mario Advance and enjoyed it. It was great. I just ran through a couple levels and I was like, yeah, this is awesome. Super nostalgic, super fun if you're into the Nintendo Switch Online Game Boy Advance Mario games. I highly recommend go check that out. I also have been playing Grand Theft Auto 4. I fired it up. Got to keep that Frankie rolling. Got to keep it hot. Making sure I get as much mileage out of it before that warranty expires in October. Make sure it's going to stay alive and reliable. But I completed a few more missions in Grand Theft Auto 4. I think I'm down to like the last 6 or so missions in the game. So starting to hit that end game kind of acceleration point in the story. I'm excited about that. I've never finished any Grand Theft Auto game except for 5. So now I'll have 4 under my belt soon. I'm just mainlining the game. I'm not trying to go out of my way to get any extra trophies. And then after Grand Theft Auto 4 on PlayStation 3, I am jonesing to get into Call of Duty Black Ops. I've never played Black Ops. It's like Vietnam time frame, so it will match the climate of here, where it'll be hot and humid and sweaty. And so whenever I can play like a summer game set in summer, I did that in years previous with Far Cry 3. It just hits different. It's fun. It's like playing snowy games during the wintertime in the Christmas era. And so it creates those gaming memories of seasons, which I love. I'm trash for all that stuff. So looking forward to playing Black Ops. I did pick up Xenoblade Chronicles 1, 2, and 3 on the Switch because I am a glutton for punishment and a masochist apparently, and love to weigh down my backlog so much that it's hilarious. Like there might as well just be a skyscraper sitting on my games. That's how heavy my backlog is at this point, because it's absolutely impossible for me to go circle back around and play everything I've got, and to add 300 more hours of games to the Switch when I'm in the middle of a Tears of the Kingdom playthrough. I haven't even finished Bayonetta 3 yet, so I've got a lot of content on Switch to play. So if Nintendo does announce and release a new Switch by like spring of 2024, which is not going to happen, but it was in the tweets, whatever. Hopefully it better be backwards compatible so I can move all this stuff forward and keep going, and maybe even enjoy some benefits of better hardware next year if that happens. So craziness going on all around. That is my show for the week. Thank you for hanging out with me. I will be back next Monday at midnight, as I do every week. You can find all of my shows at 80bitpodsmash.com, 80bitpodsmash.com. That's our landing website. It has links to all of our RSS feeds. All of our audio content is there. Every Monday at midnight, a new episode will be launched, unless otherwise noted, and you can be made aware of when I otherwise note things, because in the same website, there are also links to our social media outlets: Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, Twitter, and we have a Discord server. So hit us up. You can talk about anything you want in Discord. any video game related things, non-video game related things, what have you. Let me know how you experienced the PlayStation Showcase. Did you think it was fun and exciting? Did it make you hype for owning a PSVR 2 or a PlayStation 5? If you don't own a PS5, do you want one even more now or less? Do you care? I want to know. All of these things and more, all of that over at 80bitpodsmash.com. And with that, I will see you next week.